Today I'll be doing a guide slash gameplay video on League of Legends, and today I will be playing as the AD carry known as Jinx. So, starting off as an AD carry, we'll usually start off with a Doran's Blade, a health potion, one of course, and a warding totem trinket. And we've just headed to lane, and we're going to do a quick golem pull bot lane. The side that's usually with the AD carry bot lane is the side that will pull for the jungler. So we'll do a quick jungle pull. We want to make it quite good, you know, just to make sure the jungler will gank us. And we'll head to lane and start farming. So, in this game my opponent is Vayne, which of course is quite powerful late game. She has an extremely strong late game, so do I. So we've got to play careful. Of course Zyra isn't exactly a hardcore aggressive support. She isn't going to hook us. So we can exploit this weakness by pushing up a little bit without much consequences. Jinx has a high range as well as some pretty decent CC compared to other carries, so we can poke them with the rockets, but just make sure you don't poke them too much, because your mana will of course get eaten by the amount of rockets used, as they do cost mana of course. Late game the mana issue is pretty much non-existent. Early game wasting mana so you can't really engage is kind of problematic. There we go, we've got first blood. Although I've been condemned, of course, I can push a heal out as well and just poke her out of lane. So I'm going to flash that as well, and she's just got me. She might get a trade. Oh, and she's been killed, right. So that's a trade of 1 kill to 1 kill. That's not so bad. She of course flashed and tumbled, so she has the extra gap closer to get me. So I have made a little bit of a mistake, but due to the first blood and the early kill, I have managed to get a Vampiric Scepter. Now, one thing many AD carries do forget to do is get a Vampiric Scepter. They'll usually go straight onto the Infinite, which is probably the best idea if you get a Vampiric Scepter first. This is just in case you run into any trades and you need to lifesteal or, you know, do a good trade. So it'll give you a bit of lifesteal, namely 10%, I believe. No, 8% now, because it's been slightly nerfed in the last season or so. So you'll get a bit of lifesteal and you'll be able to actually trade. Without it, you're going to have to rely on your support a lot, and you can't really do an all-out engage. It's probably not best to do an all-out anyway, but in case you have to, it's probably for the best. And if you have quite a high poke lane, it's good to lifesteal back so you're more sustainable, and buy health potions whenever you can. When the lane's pushed, if you are ranged, you can obviously farm, such as with the rockets. I'm not in a very good position to do so, so I wouldn't recommend it. Of course, you want to dodge any ground spells. That's pretty much self-explanatory. As an AD carry, we want to attack move as well. I'll try and show some examples of that later. If you do not know how to attack move, or orb walk as it's officially called I believe, then I would practice it, or I would consider a different role. If you don't know how to orb walk or kite people, then an AD carry probably isn't the role for you, because you need to kite people. You can lifesteal in fights, but you're going to be pretty squishy. Let's say a jungler such as Vi dives onto you, what are you going to do? You're going to have to kite them. So that's probably the best thing you can do. Learn to orb walk, that'll increase your mechanics. It'll give a, it'll give a big difference between you and, let's say, a bronze 5 AD carry, or someone who's new in bronze who's going AD carry. I was silver 1, I think it was last season. Now I'm currently bronze 1. I've only started playing about 5 days ago, and I currently have some restrictions on my account due to chat violations, which is mainly just responding to trolls and flamers who I should formally have muted. But of course this is just me practicing and improving as AD carry, my main role, so that when I get into silver I am going to be much better. So I'm not going to do that, that's too risky. Her plants are quite bad, so it's probably not best to engage. When she dies, her ult's going to be a huge problem, so the focusing issue of taking down the AD carry over the support, which is usually favourable, but the support's going to do a lot. So killing Zyra first will be beneficial, but her ult obviously is the big thorn that fires at her target position, and that's going to be extremely powerful, and that might lose us the fight. So you've got to consider these small things. You've got to consider the magic resist and armor of your opponents, and of course try and look how they play. Do they overpush? what's the playstyle, try and exploit the weaknesses. That's probably the best thing you can do. If you don't really know what to do towards your opponent to win them, the best thing is probably to try your best to farm very well and poke so they don't farm. That's probably the best thing to get gold if you don't know what the weaknesses are. Try not to get hit by things like this, because she's going to probably come in and try and poke me for it. I did not know Tumble cancelled that. I'm going to pop a heal because I don't really want to be caught in that route. Farm a little bit. I'm going to try and poke a bit for that. Vayne is quite a notorious opponent in the fact that if they are a good Vayne and have, you know, quite decent reactions, you know, above average reactions, then they'll be able to tumble out of pretty much anything. If they're a bad Vayne or they're new to Vayne, they probably won't know what they're doing, which will be good for you. This Vayne is pretty decent, so I'm not going to go all out on her. I haven't checked the elo / rank of anyone in this game either. It's probably best to use websites like LOL Nexus to check your opponents, of course. That way you'll see the skill level. And another thing I do see with people who main Vayne, I've started maining Vayne, I'm just playing Jinx at the minute. For fun, she is one of my main carries. The bad thing about people who play Jinx is that wasn't so bad because there was a reason for condemning as a knockback. But most AD carries who play Vayne seem to think it's a damage or finisher spell, like some sort of execute, which of course is not the case because they'll have someone on like 3 bars and they'll knock them back. And where does that lead them? They don't end up killing them at all. Condemn is to knock someone into a wall and stun them, or knock them back if you really need to if you're on low health. It's not an execute, it's not a viable finisher spell, you know, it's not the best thing. There we go, she's using it again. I probably wouldn't have killed her, it's just because she has the spell, and she's got hooked again, you see. Or at least one of them have got hooked again. I'm not going to follow up that initiation because it's probably not the best thing to do. So, I have 1,500. I'm going to try and wait it out until about 1,850, or a little bit more, if they don't recall, that is, because I'm going to want boots as well, because if I get a BF sword when I go back, I'm going to want boots as well. So I'm going to pop down those chompers because she's poking me a lot, and I'm going to try and avoid that and pop a health potion or 2. So, of course, my support's off lane. It's not a good idea to over push on your own if you're not, you know, highly ahead and you know you can't kill them both. Like, I can't obviously solo those 2, and she can hit me with a thorn at any time. I have no heal to pop. I have a flash, which is probably a waste when my support is pretty close. And I can probably get poked by her Q as well. So keep this in mind. Your actions do have consequences, of course. I know that sounds sort of cliche, but if you make a bad gaming decision, unless your team sort of picks you up on it or helps you with it, you're probably going to regret it later in lane, and you might even feed them for it. So you've got to take these into account. Even in bronze, other elos will think, oh, bronze is trash, which in most parts are true, but if you make a mistake, some kid who really doesn't know what he's doing with the carry can literally just win the lane because he gets fed, gets a few items, and he can still win you. If you don't do that too much, though, it really comes down to mechanics, especially if you're the sort of same level. So we had a gank bot lane, we managed to land a kill on their Zyra. So I'm going to make a recall now, we're both 1-to-1, Vayne and I. I have more farm, 73, while she has 64. So I'm going to make the recall, and I'm going to go to Infinedge, buy the BF sword, and then I'm going to buy some boots. I'm going to refill on health potions with the remainder of my money, so I've got 5, and then I'm going to head back to lane. As you can see, Vayne's just died, Annie has ganked to bot lane, so that leaves me open to A, free farm, and B, the option to push if I so choose to. So, if your opponent gets killed and it's just their support, you want to make sure you watch the spawn timer. She's obviously on 10 seconds, and she will be up very soon. So, later in the game, they will die for longer so you can push objectives, do more things, which is probably for the best. Of course, at this point in the game, she's dead for, say, 10 seconds, so you probably can't do much. I still want to be careful. Jinx, early game, I probably should have took that to my advantage, as Jinx's early game is generally quite weak depending on the skill level, but if they know how to play Jinx, if they know how to play Vayne, sorry, then Vayne's early game is extremely strong. I'm going to put stun down there for the recall, of course, for the teleport, of course, for Nasus. And that's a kill. And I'm going to make the flash just so I don't die for it. So I am now ahead of Vayne. I keep getting Vayne mixed up with Jinx. I am now ahead of Vayne, of course, because I have, landed the kill. So on a gank, you want to try and make sure if there's an option for you to come out ahead on a kill, or at least level with them. So choose to. I'm pretty low on health. She does a lot of damage for an AP support, I'll give her that. It's probably not the best idea for me to go in here. So I'm just going to hit the W, hit the stun, and try and head down. And he's gone a stupid way, so if he dies, that is obviously not on me. I'm going to make the heal and really try and kite here. And that's what I mean by kite. I can't really kite her with the level of magic damage that she's doing right now, and the level of lifesteal. She's 5-1 and she has a Cinder Hulk. I'm not sure if she has full stacks on her item, but she does a lot of damage, and she has a smite which does an extreme amount of true damage. So there was no way I was getting out of that, of course. I can get my Bloodthirster. I usually do go for an Infinite Edge, so I'm probably going to do that. It really depends. If you're behind, it's probably best to finish off your Bloodthirster as it's a lot cheaper. If you're ahead or / on par, it's probably best to get an Infinite Edge. This is mainly just because the Infinite Edge will give you more damage, the crit strikes for team fights. Vayne isn't exactly ahead of me, she's getting a lot of ganks, but I can probably trade with her from a distance as long as I don't get caught by Zyra, because she's an extremely problematic support to deal with. So I'm going to hit a rocket down there to show them I mean business. That's missed, of course. That's a pretty poor play. But yeah, I don't want this Nautilus to die because he's playing very destructively when I'm not on lane. I was kind of close. It's the sort of support that would probably flame you for not being there, even though you're not exactly on lane yet. So you really want to be careful of that. You don't want to flame as well, and you don't want to respond to flamers. Anyone who you know will flame, you want to mute in game. This will obviously make you play worse if they're constantly blaming you for every mistake in the game. And most of these people they don't own up to their own problems and mistakes. They'll usually blame another person for it, and you don't want to be the person that they blame. So here's another gank from Elise, and I can't really do anything. That's entirely our fault for wards. There's no wards, so I'm just going to say that we need more wards. And of course, that's how the enemy opponent can also get ahead, because now she has more assists than me by 1 assist, so if I give her another kill, she'll be ahead. If not, she'll be at a good point for me to take advantage. But you really don't want to make these mistakes. As you can see, Echo and everyone have been ganking, and he really doesn't know what he's doing here. Other lanes can feed your lane, and you can be quick to the gun to blame everybody else, which is usually what I used to do. But really, once it's done, even if it is their fault, there's no point arguing over it, because literally you can't undo what's happened. They're always going to have died, so you can't really change it by getting annoyed at them. I'm wasting a lot of Jinx rockets that I don't really seem to be hitting. I'm just doing this to make sure they don't feed, really. It's not exactly a good thing to do. It's not a good playing tactic or anything. You should really hit the ult. But usually I can hit the ult. I've been doing it pretty abysmally right now. But we need to push out this tower, but they're going to take advantage. We finally got a ward, so we know that we can poke her a bit. I'm going to poke her down, try and get her out of lane at least. And try and switch between the rocket and minigun for poke. If they come close, obviously switch to the minigun. You'll get increased attack speed, and you'll probably output a lot more damage. If you're from a range, of course, the rockets do AoE crits. so you want to make sure you take advantage of those. If you can get the support and carry banded together and hit them both, you'll get a lot of damage output. He's tanking it, so I'm going to try and... I can't even focus her in front of the turret. There we go. And now we're going to push the tower, and that's definitely worth for an engage. There was one ult that was used in that engage, which was of course the Nautilus ultimate, and now we'll recall and finish off our Infinity Edge, and we will of course go Berserker's Greaves. So I'm going to finish the boots just because I can, I've got enough gold, and the next item we will build is probably a Shiv, and then we might move on to a Bloodthirster. Or I'll probably finish the Bloodthirster for now, because I really need the lifesteal. I see a lot of people just testing out the spells on AD carries and other champions without actually reading them, or asking other people for advice on champions without bothering to read the champion info themselves. Now, this seems quite stupid to listen to. Of course, this does happen a lot. I've known a lot of cases where people can't be bothered to read the champion info. Fair enough if they're, 5 minutes into a game and they can't really read the champion, but it's probably best to read them at the start of the game. It only takes about 30 seconds, and it will increase your play a whole lot, believe me. As you can see, Jinx will gain 175% movement speed after a successful initiation, of course, that i.e. a tower, a kill, an assist, something like that. She'll get movement speed, which is great for pushing objectives, great for getting away from a risky tower dive or risky objective that you've taken. So just be mindful of your passives on characters and just take these into consideration. She thought that she could gank us, but this Annie does too much damage, so that sort of went down the gutter. You want to watch out because Elise is clearly coming back, and she's definitely going to go for me because I'm the more squishy of the two, as well as being a prime target because of my lifesteal. Now that's why I want to finish my Bloodthirster, of course, because then I'll have more lifesteal to try and kite Elise. I mean, she's a really hard character to kite. You've got to dodge at E-stun, and then she can go into spider form, which will make her a lot quicker and more tankier. So Jinx has just gone in the bush. I'm not sure if she has a support. She's playing really recklessly, so I'm not sure what she's doing. She's baiting me to the bush, definitely, for an engage. So she seems to be the only one there. I'm not sure why she's playing so recklessly. Maybe she knows that she's about to snowball. But I'm ahead in kills, but she seems to still be able to easily trade with me. And she usually will come out on top. Using the bush is a great advantage for her, especially when she knows we have no vision at this point in time. We've taken down the tower, so we could probably push mid. Another good thing to do for the opposition, or you if you're down on the tower bot lane and they've got the tower, is they'll usually head mid, and you want to make sure that you don't go mid because they're going to be more stronger. They have more gold, they've won the lane, they've pushed a tower. If you haven't got a tower whatsoever, you want to stay bot lane, keep farming, and eventually you'll get that tower downed. That'll bring in more team gold for you, and you really want to stay on par with them on objectives, or at least try your best. Obviously it's best to win on objectives. You want to make sure you come out on top on objectives. This is of course because otherwise they'll be out on top by a lot. As you can see, she dodged my rocket. That's a skilled move. I'm going to switch to minigun to finish her off, and I'm not going to go in on her, although she already seems to have gone in on me. If I can flash that. Flashing's usually a stupid thing to do, but I was flashing to reposition. Of course, we take a look at her spells, and she's got smite, so she smited me, either as an engaged tactic or a finisher, I'm not sure. But we're getting close to being able to kill her. I definitely can't 1v1 her. I actually ran away from that fight, and she managed to hit an E on me, so just really watch out what you're doing as an AD carry and your positioning. You really want to consider what AD carry you choose at the start of a game. Of course, Vayne is a hyper carry, and she will very easily get fed regardless of what happens. Then we have Jinx, who just has a great all-round kit. And people like Ezreal, who are really mobile, is a very nice pick as well. So I can foresee this being a tower dive. I'm going to shoot my rocket up, which will actually hit. And I want to go into minigun mode. Put those stompers down. We're going to finish her off. I'm not sure if Vayne's going to try a look. but we have a whole team. Of course, switch to rockets when you're at range for someone like Vayne and the support, because you're going to be in a bad position in team fight, especially at my sort of health range that I was at. It's probably not the best, thing to do to go into minigun form. An annoying thing though is that we didn't finish off the Zyra, but that was a pretty good engage, if you ask me, especially with this tower that we're going to get. So when you finish an engage, always try and finish off an objective. Now that's not really an AD carry specific thing, but bot lane, of course, it corresponds to your lane as well, so try your best. This Tryndamere is definitely going to kill a Nasus. A Tryndamere who's pretty fed can out-kill a Nasus pretty easily with his ult. But yeah, you just want to hit your skill shots, like that slow that I've just hit. And like I said, for range you want to go into rocket mode. It's AoE crit, and you're going to outrange Vayne a lot. So you want to go... We can kill her. And I'm just going to pop my rocket because I was actually in rocket auto attack mode by the time she went invisible. But I had a teammate, so I thought I'd get a lot of damage off with the rocket. I probably wasn't going to die. If you can't do that, or if you think that's a bad idea, it's probably best to go into minigun mode when you're that close, but I wasn't really sure about her engage yet, so Nasus might take advantage of me doing that, I'm not sure. I'm going to put down the Stompers. If I get stunned though, I will die, so I'm probably going to go back now. I mean, we've basically got a base tower. That's going to be like 2 auto attacks from me when we come back to base to kill it. So as long as we don't mess up in any aspect of the game, that's pretty much a tower that we've got. We have, what, 2 inhibitors, I believe, yeah? So that's a successful push. Most AD carries will benefit from the build. A lot of the AD carries will pretty much share the exact same build, and you can build it on any champion. But there are item priorities, and champions such as Kalista, who, are catered especially for attack speed, will benefit off more attack speed items like Runon's Hurricane. So just take these into consideration again when you're building your character. I am building a Zeal at the minute. I've just got a Zeal and I've finished my Bloodthirster since the last clip, and of course I want to finish that Shiv, or you can get a Phantom Dancer. I like Shiv personally. I don't really know what they're doing with Phantom Dancer. I like Phantom Dancer's passive more, the ghosting through minions, but I haven't really seen it being played with or used much since about a season or two, or at least since the Shiv actually got introduced. So I really wouldn't recommend bothering with a Shiv, and I don't really know what the plans are with the Shiv. They should probably remove it unless there's other champs that depend on it. So I don't know, it's an extra item. You can go Phantom Dancer or Shiv. I mean, someone like Caitlyn would definitely benefit from Phantom Dancer because she's slow as it is, and if she walks into minions, she is going to be messed up in one way or another. Late game, you're going to really snowball as Jinx. You can do a lot of chases like that, and you can bully pretty much everyone on the team, as long as it's a chase. Someone like Elise, I probably can't kill. I'm going to hit these Stompers on her, or rather Chomp as they're called, and she'll come back down, and that's pretty much a surrender. So that is the game.